Hi, welcome to Route 66, a journey through the Bible. This is episode 3. It's entitled Eztra, Eztra. Read all about it. I didn't say extra, I said Eztra. Why did I say that? Well, you may be wondering that. And so today, that's what this issue, or session is all about. The books that make up the Jewish scriptures are often referred to as the Hebrew Bible. Now, with a few exceptions, that's because it was originally written in Hebrew, and so that makes sense, right? According to Jewish tradition, stay with me on this, Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible known as the Torah, from a Hebrew word which means instruction or law, or it's also called the Pentateuch, or Pentateuch, from a Greek word meaning the 5 scrolls. Okay, the 5 books of Moses are what we just think of as we start at the beginning: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. I mean, that's the first 5 books. Following Moses, Jewish tradition maintains that the history of ancient Israel was preserved by a number of different authors, most of whom were near contemporaries to the events they described. So, for example, Joshua penned the account of Israel's conquest of the Promised Land. Okay, the era following him, the period of the judges comes along, and so each judge records or writes the things that have happened in their era. The remaining material is offered by Samuel and is composed by some of the contemporaries of Samuel. The history of Israel's kings after David was preserved by royal scribes who recorded letters of the state. And then all of a sudden, Ezra becomes the guy, the last prophet, if you will, who takes all of those writings and catalogs all of that and puts it all together into what we have as the bulk of the Hebrew Bible or the Old Testament. Now, in 586 BC, the Babylonians invaded Jerusalem. It attacked the royal temple and the palace, and much of the ancient writings were destroyed. And for a while, it was feared that a lot of the Bible might be lost. However, when they raided the temple, they took a lot of the scrolls back with them to Babylon. And while they were there, they were edited and compiled. And this is where Ezra, again, was able to bring the scrolls back to Jerusalem. He instigated a religious reform that was based on these ancient scriptures. During this period, additional works were penned and included in the library. And so what was lost was recovered. And so when I said Ezra, read all about it, the reason is because Ezra was the driving force behind all of this and preserving the Old Testament. And that's where we get it. That's where the Hebrew Bible comes from. That's why it exists to this day. Taken from scrolls, transcribed, hand-copied, recompiled, and Ezra was the driving force. And so when you open up that Old Testament, although it is the Word of God, no doubt about it, Ezra was the one responsible for making sure that we had it preserved. And so, that's it. That's where the Old Testament comes from. Now, did I skip anything? A lot. Well, but that's not the point of the series. We're talking about how we get to the Word of God, how we understand it, and what we need to know about it. This is the essentials. And so that's what you need to know about the Old Testament, at least in a big overview. I look forward to joining you here on Route 66 next time, and we'll look at a few more things.